गवर्नमेंट सीनियर सेकेंडरी स्कूल। हमारा ये विद्यालय राजकीय वरिष्ठ माध्यमिक विद्यालय थ्रास हिमाचल प्रदेश के कुल्लू जिला के रोड पंचायत में स्थित है और जिला मुख्यालय से इसकी दूरी लगभग 23 किलोमीटर है। यहाँ पर लगभग 300 बच्चे छठी से लेकर 12वीं तक लगभग 300 बच्चे अध्ययनरत हैं। ये स्कूल 1953 में प्राइमरी स्कूल बना था और 1997 में ये हाई स्कूल और 2012 में ये सीनियर सेकेंडरी बना। ये गांव का स्कूल है। ये जहाँ पर कई बार जो है मौसम जब ख़राब होता है तो लाइट चली जाती है, तो क्लासरूम्स में लाइट की भी समस्या होती थी। कुछ क्लासरूम्स ऐसे हैं जहाँ पर बिजली की ज़रूरत है, अंधेरा हो जाता था, तो बिजली ना होने से कक्षाओं में पढ़ाने में टीचर्स को दिक्कत आती थी।
बहुत प्रॉब्लम्स आती हैं क्योंकि पहाड़ी क्षेत्र होने के कारण यहाँ पर कुछ ना कुछ क्लैमिटी चली रहती है, जिस कारण लाइट जो है वो चली जाती है।
एग्जामिनेशन के दौरान हमें ये कहा गया है कि सीसीटीवी कैमरे जो है चालू रखने हैं, लेकिन जब लाइट चली जाती थी तो वो कैमरा भी बंद हो जाता था, तो इसके लिए हमें जो है बहुत मेहनत करनी पड़ती थी और कई बार कुछ इन्वर्टर या कहीं से लाना पड़ता था। एक दिन मुझे स्टेट कोऑर्डिनेटर शिल्पा जी का फ़ोन आया कि हम आपके स्कूल के लिए सोलर पैनल और स्मार्ट टीवी दे रहे हैं। सुनकर खुशी हुई। मैंने अपने स्टाफ वालों को भी बताया और सारे स्टाफ वाले बहुत खुश हुए। इंस्टॉलेशन टीम जब आई तो सेटअप के साथ उन्होंने ट्रेनिंग भी दी हमारे आईपी टीचर्स को, स्मार्ट टीवी कैसे चलाना है, और जो बायजूस का जो सेट टॉप बॉक्स दिया तो ये भी उन्होंने पूरा समझा के दिया कि किस तरह से ये क्लासेस किस तरह से आप जो है इनको लगा सकते हैं। इंटरनेट की वजह से आज हमें देश विदेश के बारे में सब कुछ पता चल रहा है। जिसकी भी जानकारी हमें लेनी है इंटरनेट के माध्यम से हमें वो पता लग रहा है।
अभी कुछ टाइम पहले हमने श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी की वीडियो परीक्षा पर चर्चा हमने अभी स्मार्ट टीवी पर देखी थी, तो उसमें हमने बहुत कुछ सीखा। जैसे कि हम परीक्षा के टाइम हमारे दिमाग में बहुत स्ट्रेस होता है, तो उसे कैसे दूर करें और कैसे हम अच्छे नंबर ला सकते हैं।
इस स्कूल को ज्वाइन करे हुए 1 साल हुआ है। मुझे यहाँ पर इस स्कूल की बहुत सारी खूबियाँ अच्छी लगती है, जैसे यहाँ पर डिजिटल इंटरनेट है, स्मार्ट टीवी है और हम टीचर की एब्सेंस में स्मार्ट टीवी के माध्यम से अपनी पढ़ाई जारी रख सकते हैं।
जो इंटरनेट आया हुआ है इसके थ्रू जो हमारा बच्चा बहुत कुछ सीख रहा है। सभी पेरेंट्स इस बात से बहुत खुश हैं और अपने बच्चों को वो एक इम्प्रूवमेंट के रूप में वो बच्चों में इम्प्रूवमेंट देख रहे हैं।
ये जो एरिया है बेसिकली थ्रास, यहाँ पर सनलाइट बहुत ज़्यादा रहती है, तो यहाँ के हिसाब से ये बहुत अच्छी चीज़ है कि सोलर एनर्जी हमारे पास है। मतलब हम हार्नेस कर सकते हैं उस एनर्जी को जितना हो सके पॉसिबल। एक चाइनीज़ प्रोवर्ब है कि मैंने सुना मुझे याद नहीं, मैंने देखा मुझे याद है और मैं भूल नहीं सकता। तो सबसे बड़ी बात यह है कि ये जो सोलर एनर्जी है इसका बच्चे फर्स्ट हैंड एक्सपीरियंस ले रहे हैं। मतलब यहाँ पर स्कूल में जो भी यहाँ पर कभी लाइट जाएगी नहीं, तो सोलर एनर्जी की वजह से उनको लाइट परमानेंटली मिल रही है। मतलब हर एक चीज़ की फंक्शनिंग यहाँ पर स्कूल में प्रॉपर हो रही है। सीसीटीवी हमेशा चले हैं, तो एनर्जी की है।
जो सोलर पैनल प्रोवाइड किया गया उसका सबसे बड़ा फायदा है कि यह पर्यावरण को बिना नुकसान पहुंचाए हमें बिजली प्रोवाइड करता है और न ही इससे विषैली गैस का उत्सर्जन होता है और न ही वायु प्रदूषण होता है और न ही ध्वनि प्रदूषण होता है।
इस प्रोग्राम में मुझे खास बात ये लगी कि जो डिजिटल लिटरेसी के तहत और डिजिटल जो क्लासरूम उन्होंने दी आर्ट ऑफ लिविंग वालों ने, इसके साथ उन्होंने इस बात का ध्यान रखा कि कहीं बच्चे जो है डिस्ट्रैक्ट ना हो। इसके लिए उन्होंने बच्चों को मेडिटेशन कोर्सेज करवाए, साथ में टीचर्स को भी मेडिटेशन और ये आर्ट ऑफ लिविंग का जो हैप्पीनेस कोर्स है, YLTP कोर्स है, ये कोर्सेज भी करवाए।
योगा तो हम पहले भी करते थे, पर जब मैंने पिछले साल YLTP का कोर्स किया तो वहाँ पर हमें बहुत ज़्यादा मेडिटेशन कराई जाती थी, माइंड एक्सरसाइजेस कराई जाती थी, जिससे मेरे पढ़ाई का स्ट्रेस बहुत कम हो गया और मेरे को बहुत अच्छा लगा।
डिजिटलाइज हुआ है इंडिया, तो हर घर में तो अब मोबाइल है, तो वो ऑलरेडी वो इस चीज़ को यूज़ कर रहे हैं। और कहीं ना कहीं स्कूल में ये गैप, हमारे स्कूल्स में जैसे रूरल एरिया में ये गैप था कि वो घर में तो उनको एनवायरनमेंट थोड़ा सा मिल रहा है, पर स्कूल में कहीं ना कहीं वो कनेक्ट नहीं हो रहा है। तो कहीं ना कहीं जब ये डिजिटल लर्निंग या हम स्मार्ट टीवी यहाँ पर यूज़ कर रहे हैं, तो वो गैप कहीं ना कहीं फुलफिल हो। बहुत बढ़िया इनिशिएटिव है, क्योंकि इससे बहुत ज़्यादा फ़ायदा होगा सभी बच्चों को, मतलब सोसाइटी को भी ओवरऑल फ़ायदा होगा। कोशिश तो ये होनी चाहिए कि हमारे पूरे इंडिया में इस तरह का सिस्टम हो, खासकर रूरल एरिया जहाँ पर कि कंपैरेटिवली कम है इस तरह की फैसिलिटीज़, कि रूरल एरिया में भी ये जाए।
आर्ट ऑफ लिविंग वालों ने ये जो प्रोग्राम चलाया, उसको मैं दिल की गहराइयों से धन्यवाद करना चाहूँगी। और साथ में मैं ये भी कहना चाहूँगी कि जिस तरह से प्रोग्राम हमारे स्कूल आया, पूरे भारतवर्ष में ये और बच्चों को भी इसकी सुविधा मिले, यही मैं कहना चाहूँगी कि और बच्चे भी इससे लाभान्वित हो। धन्यवाद।
India has a border with around 7 countries, which includes close to 16,000 kilometers. When we see the border states, it lacks a lot in economic development, education and health. And SSRDP decided to do something about it. We took education and wanted to improve the border schools. That is where we started a beautiful program of digitizing border schools of India. When we were starting and working on this program, we realized electricity is an issue. So then we thought that we need to create solar-powered smart digital classrooms. If we can create good education infrastructure in border areas, youth will not be radicalized. Good education is a greatest asset for a child and a whole civilization. And we are not doing our duty as citizens of India if we are not empowering our border villages. As a part of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, Art of Living, SSRDP has taken the sankalp of providing solar-powered digital classrooms in 75 border schools of India.
Namaskar and good morning, everyone, and a very warm welcome to this insightful discussion on clean energy. This, I think, is the only pathway to sustainable future. I am Anju Bahri from Himalaya Unnati Mission, and it is my privilege to host today's session. This is the 12th webinar of our Himalaya Chintan series and is part of our collective effort to drive impactful conversation on sustainability, energy transformation, and climate resilience. Clean energy is not just a technological shift, it is an economic, environmental, and social imperative. As we are growing and energy demands are also growing, and with climate challenges, it is crucial to explore practical, scalable solutions that can power our industries, communities, and homes sustainably. Today, we are honored to have Shri Deepak Sharma ji, Trustee and Pradhan Sevak for HUM under Shri Rural Development Program Trust, moderating this discussion. In conversation with him is Mr. Abhimanyu Sahu, COO of Schneider Electric India Foundation, a leader in driving clean energy solutions and advancing global sustainability efforts. Abhimanyu ji is a recognized, result-oriented, focused business leader with 27 years of experience in electrical industry with merging sound technical knowledge, entrepreneurial spirit, and business acumen to lead strategic social business initiatives, global CSR program, develop BOP market, and lead global R&D teams. He has proven experience in building and managing engineering teams to develop product for global markets. He is a BE in electricals from NIT Rourkela and also holds an MBA degree. He is a motivated self-starter who earned many Best Project Awards and managed to get many recognitions for organization in social business initiatives and CSR program. Together, Deepak ji and Abhimanyu ji will delve into innovative strategies and technological advancements shaping the future of clean energy. So I request everybody to please stay tuned for some interesting conversation today. Expect an engaging dialogue filled with insights on decarbonization, digitalization, and decentralized energy models as we explore how businesses and communities can accelerate this transition. I invite you all to participate actively. Keep your videos open, drop your questions in the chat box, engaged in the discussion, and be part of this transformative conversation. If you wish, you may also enable the English subtitles. There is also a feedback form through which a certificate of participation will be issued. So put in your proper name in your windows. You may also volunteer for Better Himalayas through this link. And without further ado, let us welcome our speakers for today. Let's begin. Over to you, Deepak ji.
Namaste, thank you Anju ji, and welcome Abhimanyu ji, and welcome all the dignitaries, all the amazing people. I see some of the some really, I see Arohi, I see Avni, I see some of the very prominent social institutions who are doing such good work in Himalayas here right now, and welcome all of you, all the other Mahimaji, volunteering for the Himalayan Volunteering Network, so many people. So without delay, this is a very amazing conversation, because here we will be talking about two individuals who have been engaged for the last, I think, 12 to 13 years and doing social projects on the ground. So all the NGOs here, institutions here who are involved, this is a very good opportunity to identify and start projects. Like on this platform right now, in the next one hour, we can actually initiate multiple projects in Himalayas. Art of Living, I have been working with Abhimanyu as with him as the head of the Schneider Foundation, the Access to Energy program, and the CSR initiatives of skilling youths across India, and now in Nepal and Sri Lanka. And he is a taskmaster and believes more in doing. Same me. We have with Schneider, the Art of Living Foundation has set up more than, I think, 47 skill centers. And we have trained close to 36,000 youths in the last 10 to 12 years. And most of our skill centers are, they train people on renewable energy as well. And in the last, I think, 6 to 7 years, we have started focusing more on entrepreneurship, and close to 3,000 plus entrepreneurs have been created in the last 5-6 years. Some of them have a yearly turnover of more than 10 CR now. I tell them that you should cross the turnover of SSRDP as soon as possible to all, and they are all first generation entrepreneurs. More than 700 villages Art of Living has electrified only with Schneider Foundation. And if you go to Schneider Foundation, what Abhimanyu has done, it'll go into thousands. So Abhimanyu, let's not, I would not like to waste time and go straight on implementation. Abhimanyu, my first question to you will be, because over here we have the best minds who are working in the Himalayas. They are people who have given their lives for the Himalayas. So my first question to you, Abhimanyu, will be that what impact do you see renewable energy having on rural India? I mean, you can take the context of rural India and not focus on Himalayas only, because some people are from other parts of India as well. But what impact do you see renewable energy having on rural India, and how NGOs and institutions can better themselves to create that impact, to lead that impact in rural India?
Yeah, so thank you, Deepak-ji. First of all, thank you, Deepak-ji, and for organizing this webinar and inviting many people from different organizations and who are really working for the Himalaya Unnati mission. I think which is such a fantastic program. Okay, and again, thank you, Anju-ji, for the nice introductions. Okay. So I will first, I think this is really, I think today when we discuss, I think, about renewable energy, I don't think, I think we need to speak about the importance of renewable energy, the need of energy, it's, everybody knows about it, okay? I think the question we said, how it can really help, the rural India, I think that's really important, okay? So what I will do is I will give, in fact, we have been working with you, SSRDP, in many such projects, okay? I will give you concrete examples, rather than talking about some, some theory part, okay? I'll give really some concrete examples, okay? So as you know, I think in energy is one of the main driver of socio-economic development, whether it is for example, if we think about education, health, livelihood, even for basic households work, everything require energy, correct? Okay. Think about a day, without electricity, it's not possible, correct? Okay. But unfortunately, when we think about remote area, and particularly here, I think many of them are working from are coming from, let's say, the Himalayan range, and there are many villages still, they don't have access to reliable electricity. And that's a big challenge. Okay, so I will just start from the education. I think so what we have done, Deepak, we have been working together. So think about the schools. Now, of course, I think we can say that children can study in the school without in the daytime. Okay, but today I think all we know that digital is very, very important. We need every student, the children need to be educated about the digital technologies, including computer. So if you don't have, but to, let's say, train people or even educate, the children about the computers, or for them to use like computers, laptop, or even, let's say, any kind of like digital technology. In the school, you need to have a reliable electricity. But if you go to, let's say, some of the remotest areas, like, for example, starting from, let's say, Jammu Kashmir to, like, all the Himalayan range. I think recently I had been northeast, okay, and many of these schools in these remote villages, they don't have reliable electricity in the daytime also during school hours. And even, like, if, let's say, the school is a like, if it is a residential school, again it is a challenge, okay. But now grid cannot reach many of these remote areas, so solar solution is one of the big challenge. I will say, that is the right solution. And the moment you have a solar solution, they will have 24 by 7 electricity. The children can study, use all the technologies. And even, one of the big challenge today is availability of, like, teachers. For example, if you go to the rural schools, the number of teachers in the school is very, very less. So if you have, let's say, some digital technologies, like, let's say, smart class boards, like, or let's say you have a smart TV where you will be able to use some digital content, you can provide good quality education in those remote areas. Even the teacher strength is less, correct? Okay, so that's the education part. Now come to, let's say, health, which is very big. In fact, recently, okay, again, I have been to, like, many of this, like, particularly the few states in uh, northeast and even some other parts of India. If you go to, like, rural like health centers, in fact, in India, more than, I think, 30-40,000 health centers are there, mostly the primary health center. They don't have at all electricity. Now, how can you think about providing, even you have a doctor, imagine a very good doctor, but if you don't have electricity, it's a challenge. In fact, I have spoken to few doctors. They say they have to deliver, like, for example, even, like, when some of the, like, emergency case, when, the women come for child delivery, they don't have electricity. That's the condition in many parts. Okay, so this having, let's say, a solar and reliable electricity will really transform the healthcare services. Okay, now coming to livelihood, I think livelihood is, again, one of the, like, for example, today, uh, if you go to the rural areas, like, mostly, let's say, the predominantly the livelihood is based on the agriculture, correct? Okay, and particularly if you go to the like, Himalayan areas, like, you have, like, other opportunities, like, for example, homestays, the tourism and all these things. But again, even you think about agriculture, the first necessary require or the first requirement is irrigation. And without irrigation, you can't have like, you can't like, do agriculture. Okay, but in this many of part of India, particularly in the rural areas, they don't have, even the villages are electrified. There is no three-phase electricity in the agriculture, like, particularly in the farms. Okay, of course there are many states, like, you have a separate agriculture feeders. But even, let's say, in the advanced states, like, where you have an agriculture feeder, but the power also comes not 24/7. It is like, on shifts. Some days it comes, let's say, in the daytime, sometimes even come in the midnight. And I will not name the states, okay, but I was speaking to many farmers where the woman has to go in the middle of a night for irrigation. Definitely it is not safe. you know so these are the challenges, but this could be easily solved, like, if you put a solar irrigation, that and today these technologies are easily available, and it is also quite, let's say, not very expensive also, and that can really transform. Okay, now the next is, okay, you have irrigation, but how can, but one of the, again, big challenges, like, particularly in the India, in the rural areas, because of like, the lack of, let's say, electricity, or let's say even the like reliable electricity, they don't do any kind of value addition in the rural areas. For example, they are producing probably let's say oil seed, but they are just selling the oil seeds, okay? Or they are, let's say, producing turmeric and they are producing selling turmeric, but they are not able to, let's say, do the turmeric powder even packaging, because you require again energy, correct? Okay. So if we can leverage, this solar energy or any kind of clean energy, particularly, to have, the processing plants in the villages, which will again improve the income of the farmers. And I will give you a very concrete example. Last year we did two projects in Jharkhand, which is around 2 hours, 2.5 hours from Ranchi. The district is Gumla, and the two village names are Sahel and Chetty. Very small tribal villages. Okay, and this farm, most of them are tribal farmers. Earlier, let's say, maybe 40, 50 years before, completely they were depend upon the hunting, or forest produce only. But let's say from last 20, 30 years, they have been doing agriculture. But again, because the land, because of the terrain, they don't have irrigation. Although there is a river, but there is no irrigation facilities. Okay, so first, I think we 3, 4 years before, we set installed irrigation pumps in those two villages. Okay, of course there were other villages we do, but in these two villages are also first irrigation pumps were installed, and that has really transformed the life of the farmers. They were now they were having now reliable irrigation to raise 2 to 3 crops. So earlier they were just doing, let's say, one crop, and particularly in this season, after, let's say, the monsoon, they were going either cities or working in a brick lanes as a migrant laborers. But today they're able to reach 3 crops. Let's say after let's say the paddy, they're able to raise all the cash crops, cabbage, cauliflowers, green peas, all kind of thing, mustards. Okay, and now watermelon. So the complete 365 days they are able to do some kind of agriculture. Okay, and which has increased their income almost minimum 3, 4 times. Okay, then what we did is, then we understood that, okay, now they are able to, let's say, thanks to this irrigation system, now they are able to let's say do 2 to 3 crops. Then why can't we do some agro processing of those crops? Okay, so we installed a system, what we called as a climate smart village. It is basically a solution where clean energy is used for all the requirement of the village. It will power household, it will power irrigation pump, it will now power even all the agro processing machines, everything. And it's a very quite it is a smart solutions where we don't use the batteries also, for this productive usage, particularly the large machines. We don't use batteries, so that's the reason the cost comes down. Because in the villages, what happens is, most of this, let's say, irrigation pump or all these machines, they work on a daytime only. You don't need, to have a storage. Okay, so that is what we did, so that the cost is reduced. So in one of this village, they are having, of course, the irrigation pump. Now they are having an oil expeller. They're having even oil packaging machines. Then they are having groundnut deselling machine, even paper plate, leaf plate making machines. Then turmeric powder, as well as wheat, the flour mixing. Okay, so they are now doing the processing and packaging, and because now they have formed a cooperative also, FPO. They are now even marketing this product, and just 2 weeks before I was there, I was really happy to know that now they are selling the oil. Now they are selling to a hotel chain, and now they are not able to meet their demands. Almost every alternate day, the hotel requires 600 liters of oil, and these two villages, they are completely busy in producing those oils. So think about earlier, they were selling their, let's say, mustard to a middleman, but now they are selling packaged oil. Yeah, so this all like, so when I go this one, when I look at, and it is also creating a lot of jobs also. So like, the women, like, who were just like, let's say, uh, after one season they didn't had any work and they were working on the brick kilns, or even going, let's say, a few hundred kilometers from their villages, like, staying in a temporary tents, okay, or huts. Today they are on their in working in their own village, their own farm, you know throughout the year, and they are able to have a much better life, living. And what we have done also in these villages, in addition to the machine, we have also given them a electric vehicle which is used for transport. And again, like, when I just 2 weeks before, when I visited, I was discussing with the woman, and even the woman, they themselves were driving, okay, and they were very happy because now from their field itself they are able to, like, take the crops to the market, and of course, like, they are not dependent. Otherwise it was very difficult for them to, like, like, for example, the day where I went when I went, one of the farmers, like, so they were harvesting green peas, okay, it was almost like in 400 kilometer. Now in those remote villages, where they will get a vehicle, and for one farm to get a vehicle, it is not really cost effective now, because now this uh, electric vehicle, which is owned by the, like, FPO, which is like, the group of the farmers, okay, and everybody is getting benefited. So what I can say is, the renewable energy, if we really properly plan, it can transform the complete village ecosystem, the socio-economic development, yeah.
Abhimanyu ji, also one thing which you lightly addressed, but which I found the key driver was that entrepreneurship development was created.
I will come to that.
Yes, SSGs, people pay for it. It's not free of cost. So,
yeah.
Yes, Abhimanyu ji.
So, okay. So now coming to that, I think, so because when you say how it can transform, okay. So, and, the main, let's say, I will say the factor, which is really making this whole model successful is, in fact, this is really not free. From, let's say, initially, from CSR fund, few corporate has come together, they have installed this one. But even whatever the system which is installed, this climate smart solution, the villagers has contributed up to 25%, because if there is no contribution, then there is no ownership, okay, and then it is now completely community owned and managed, okay. But the most important point again, when you install this, like, solutions in the remote villages, now who is going to operate? So we have set up a training centers there to train, in fact, women, operating machines, so they are able to operate. And then what we have done is, like, we have mobilized around 18 youths, like, from the whole districts, because today we have almost 1,000 pumps, solar irrigation pump, in that part of, like, in Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, in that area. So we have identified few youths, and in fact, of course, they came to Bangalore, and your training center itself, like, they've been trained 3 months, and now when they are going, but they have gone back, and they are providing all kind of technical services, like, which is really very, very important for ensuring the sustainability of the system. Otherwise, like, one of the biggest challenges, okay, you put a system in a remote place, if some minor thing is, let's say, a challenge, okay, and there is nobody, and then, it can even lead to a completely crop failure. Imagine in a remote village, they have done now, right now they are doing, like, watermelon crop, and this crop, if, let's say, there is if you don't irrigate for 3-4 days, then, the crop will fail. So if you don't have a right technical, let's say, the, like, the what is called, if you don't build the capacity of the local community to manage this, small kind of repairs, like, so these issues, like, you can't completely depend upon somebody, like, technical experts from city going and then providing, the services,
Yes.
So, yeah, so this, of course, the capacity of the community, or the capacity building of the community to manage these systems is also very, very critical.
I think a lot of NGOs, and these are all social development people here, must be thinking that we want to do something like this in our village, and definitely we will do. I would like to ask the next question, Abhimanyu, and after that I would like to play a video which which shows, it's a 4 minutes video. So
yeah, if you want, Deepak
yes.
ji, I can share my screen with some pictures of this climate smart village.
Yes, that will be really nice, because this is what everyone here who is seeing this wants to take back. We want everyone to develop a climate smart village in their community. So it'll be very nice if you can show some pictures.
Can I share my screen?
Anjuji?
You shall be able to do it, sir. Please share.
I am so I'm just sharing. Yes. Just I will share you some images. Yeah. So here, so when you talk about a climate smart village, basically, we have this solar power, which is powering irrigation. It is powering many productive loads, starting from let's say this is you can see here is a leaf plate making machines, even in transport, electric transport vehicle, various agro processing machines of oil, even the rice, paddy, what you call rice huller, the peanut, the groundnut desaling machines. It is even powering the homes as well as street lights. Okay, so here is in fact the pictures of a around 40 kilowatt solution which is powering 100 households and all the machines. Okay, so there are 4 pumps, 2 numbers of 10 HP and 2 number of 5 HP. You can see that which is used. This is a processing plant. Here you can see an oil expeller. Then this is a leaf plate making machines, and then you also have a rice huller. Yeah, this is a more detailed view of the leaf plate making machine. Of course, they are doing irrigation, and these are the in fact youth who had come from those villages and got trained in Bangalore, and they have gone back. And they are now maintaining these solutions. Okay, so the maintenance also is done by the local. Of course, this is so here. Of course, it is more like a technical, I would say, architecture. So from the solar panel, we are providing we are powering water pumps, all the agro processing machines, households, and this is completely IoT enabled, where we are able to remotely monitor as well as control. I think that's the beauty of the solutions. So we are not only able to measure, let's say, the performance, we are able to even measure the impacts, how much, let's say, carbon saving has been done, or how much water was used by the farmers. So all those things also will be able to monitor. Yeah, I think, yeah.
Amazing. Jazz, can you play the video? It's a 4-5 minutes video. I mean, normally we don't, do that much. We believe more in interaction, but I feel this video will give a lot of good education to the whole group.
After 6 p.m., there used to be a shutdown. People never used to go out because of fear of animals.
It's really important to understand that currently the way that energy is distributed around the world is unjust. We still have about 675 million people that have no access to electricity at all. When you talk about energy access, energy equity, energy justice, you have to talk about the amount of energy people use.
Access to energy is essential in achieving these sustainability goals, as it drives economic development as well as has a real multiplier effect to the individual or the community in terms of livelihood, health, education, security, empowerment of women, while also mitigating climate change.
If you want good education, you want electricity. If you want irrigation for agriculture, you want electricity. If you want good healthcare facilities, you want electricity.
So having access to electricity means first they are connected. They are part of an ecosystem. They can now look at forms of digitalization. We've seen with a lot of farmers that this has improved yield on crops. We've seen that women, and unfortunately it's women than children that get affected, that have clean cooking solutions, get back 5 hours of their day. Not having access to healthcare centers, especially on the continent where only 25% of healthcare centers are actually electrified, that means people die. So this is a really important frontline topic that we have to make an emergency.
We're all experiencing the rapid pace of change brought on by new technology. It can seem overwhelming, but imagine if you didn't even have access to electricity. That's the reality for 675 million people around the globe, with knock-on impacts to society, education, employment, and economies. We have the means to solve this problem through electrification and provide clean and reliable energy to communities, equipping them with the knowledge, training, and skills needed to address these issues and bring development at a local level while contributing to global sustainable change.
Corporate social responsibility has been part of the DNA. And in line with this, in 2009, we launched what we call as the Access to Energy program, which has 3 pillars. The first one is about how we are able to bring access to energy to the people who still would need that. The second one is how we are able to bring a training and entrepreneurship program which is able to ensure that this business remains sustainable in the communities that it is developed. And the third one is investing in impact funds, where we will partner with the rest of companies and scale it up using other technologies and other people in this space.
We are running more than 45 skill development centers in the field of electrical and renewable energy with them. All of these skill development centers are used to train villagers to come and learn renewable energy, solar, and go back to their village and install their own systems.
One example of an isolated village undergoing a complete transformation through electrification is Pandri in North India.
Pandri is a forest village. Because of the Forest Protection Acts, we are not allowed to have poles and electrical wires there. Before electricity, they didn't know what irrigation is. They didn't know what education is after sunset.
So Vilayam microgrids have been developed for remote locations where bringing cables is very complicated. Solar power combined with battery storage is what is able to bring clean power to those local communities.
I see a light not in their homes but in their hearts and in their eyes also. Because of electricity, children could study in the night. People could roam out freely without the threat of animals in the night. And if we can give good facilities for youth to undertake entrepreneurship activities in the village, there will be overall empowerment of the village.
Providing access to energy goes far beyond just offering light and power. It opens up a completely new future for entire communities.
There are a lot of new types of jobs that are created, especially having such a young population. There's a lot of AI and IT that it's going to happen with a lot of renewable integration. There's going to be jobs that we didn't even know exist.
Once this is done, nations can unlock their economic potential, foster sustainable development, as well as create more prosperous future for the citizens.
The most important thing is to know that all the technologies we need already exist. I think the opportunity of clean energy, especially clean energy merged with tech, is going to be revolutionary.
Manjuji, we also are receiving a few questions in our chat box. If you may, may I read them out to you now?
Sure.
Anjuji, before that, I would like to, request 2 people on this, platform, Ramola ji and Pankaj ji to share. Pankaj ji, are you there? Pankaj Tiwari ji has been working in the field of healthcare across Himalayas for Arohi. And Pankaj ji, would you like to share some of your thoughts on how renewable energy is important for the healthcare system in Himalayas? If you're there, Pankaj ji.
Yeah, thank you, Deepak ji. Thank you, Anju ji. And it was really enlightening discussion and the things shared by the Abhimanyu Sahu sir. So basically, I was interested here for this whole this session specifically because we are working a lot in environmental issues, and Deepak ji has already visited, and even Anju ji. So right now we are also looking after all this solution over here. Specifically, we want if we can make this renewable energy model within organization initially, like we are having our own hospital, we are having on our school, and we are working with the gram panchayat with maternity center in very remote locations. So therein, if we can initiate something like that, and already because we are working with more than 500 villages in Kumaon region, sir. So I believe ये बहुत आसानी से हम लोग चीजों को कर सकते हैं और लोगों तक पहुंच सकते हैं। कैसे करना है, क्योंकि दीपक जी हमारे पास आए थे और दीपक जी ने काफी चीजें गाइड भी की और अंजू जी भी आई थी, तो हम तो खुद इस directly working with almost 200,000 population in this Kumaon region. So मेरा बस यही था, क्योंकि ये चीज जरूरत भी है और हम भी कोशिश कर रहे हैं कि कैसे हम रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी या अल्टरनेटिव एनर्जी रिसोर्सेज को बेटर यूज कर पाए। एंड ऑलरेडी वी हैव अटेम्प्टेड विद इन आवर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, बट नाउ आज के सारे सेशन के बाद हम लोग भी चाहते हैं कि हम लोगों तक पहुंचे, एंड दैट इज वेरी मच इंश्योर्ड दैट वी आर इंश्योरिंग कंट्रीब्यूशन बाय द कम्युनिटी इन ईच आवर ऑफ आवर प्रोग्राम। तो वो कहीं पर भी नहीं है कि हमारे एरिया में कुछ भी हम लोगों को फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट दे रहे हैं, बिकॉज ओनरशिप भी रहती है उससे। सो दैट इज वन ऑफ द मैंडेट ऑफ ऑल्सो आरोही। तो सर मुझे ये लगता है कि इतना इम्पोर्टेंट चीजों को, और ये बहुत जरूरी है आज की जब हम क्लाइमेट स्मार्ट विलेज कह रहे हैं, तो वी आर वर्किंग ऑन आवर नाउअडेज इन क्लाइमेट रेजिलिएंट विलेज कंसेप्ट, वेयर वी आर ब्रिंगिंग इन 3-4 villages all the things, right from clean water to health issues and our livelihood as well as education. So we are already working on climate resilient village concept in our area. So it is again वो words की बात है, तो पर्पस वही है कि कैसे हम जो कहा गया है सिंस गांधी जी से कि कैसे सेल्फ सफिशिएंट विलेज बनाए, दैट वी आर अटेम्प्टिंग सर फॉर लास्ट 32 years इन द एरिया, एंड नाउ वी हैव रीच्ड आउट टू ऑलमोस्ट 500 विलेजेस, और बहुत रिमोट एरिया में हम लोग हैं। वो वी आर नॉट लोकेटेड इन एनी टाउन, बट वी आर इन द विलेज राइट नाउ। तो आई थिंक इसमें हम तो बिल्कुल जुड़ना चाहेंगे, और जब से दीपक जी से बात हुई है, आपने हमें काफी चीजें बताई भी और अंजू जी भी आई, तो हमारा एक ही लक्ष्य है कि कैसे हम लोगों का माइग्रेशन भी रोकें, और अल्टीमेटली बिकॉज माई पीएचडी इज ऑल्सो इन फॉरेस्ट्री एंड एनवायरमेंट साइंस, तो कहीं ना कहीं लगाव है। एक जस्ट आपको एग्जांपल दूंगा, एक बड़ा प्रोग्राम बिसाइड हेल्थ एजुकेशन लाइवलीहुड, अभी वी आर जस्ट गोइंग फॉर द मैसिव एफॉरेस्टेशन प्रोग्राम ऑफ 4 million plants, almost we have completed with around 65% of survival. एंड दीपक सर, मैं अभी बस यही कहना चाहूंगा, जो आपने उस बार स्वस्थ कुमाऊं और स्वस्थ उत्तराखंड की बात की थी, उसमें हम लोग आज कभी भी अभी मेरे साथ बैठे हैं समीरन एंड और माई टीम लाइक नारायण, तो हम सब लोग हैं साथ में अभी। तो अभी हम उस सब चीज को आगे ले जाना है, डिले हो रहा है बट वी आर वेरी मच इन दैट प्रोसेस।
डेफिनेटली सर, ये सब इसी की शुरुआत है। एंड Ramola ji, I would like to have a few words from you also. Ramola ji is a very renowned writer, and she led the Safe Kumaon initiative, which did a lot of social transformation in Kumaon. So Ramola ji, just a few words from you on the importance of renewable energy, and then we will take the floor for questions.
Namaskar to everybody. Well, renewable energy is not really my subject, so I'm just enjoying listening to all of you. A concern as far as I'm concerned is what renewable energy is and how much of it is clean energy. because while we are sort of getting very involved in different kinds of alternate energies, are all of them really sustainable and clean? I think that's something which we need to focus on, and I'd love to hear more about that.
Yes, Abhimanyuji. And
yeah, in fact, it's a very good question, Ramolaji. Of course, I think among today we have many sources of, let's say, renewable energy. But today, what is really, which is, I will say, which is cost effective and also quite clean. Because if you look at the solar, in fact, this is unlimited everywhere. We have, okay. And I will consider it's really a clean energy. Of course, there are many, let's say, debates sometimes, okay, what happens to the solar panel? And if you really look at the solar panel, it is basically glass, aluminum, and what exactly the silicon is not even 1% of the weight. If which is really converting the solar energy into the electric, which is a very, very thin film. Okay, it's very okay, it's very small.
But what about the batteries?
Yeah, okay, so that is where okay, so the batteries, that's where if you look at the climate smart solutions, which we are right now what we are proposing. In fact, if you look at a solar irrigation pump, you don't have battery. It is a completely battery solution. Okay. And what I told, even the climate smart villages, I told, for most of the productive machines, we don't propose actually battery solutions. Okay. It is only a very small part, particularly for the household, you can use batteries. And today in India, if you look at, of course, the lead acid battery is highly recycled, it is completely recycled, correct? Okay. But again, my, in this climate smart solutions, what we are really promoting is, all these big machines, which are, there is absolutely no battery, no storage.
Yeah, but my point is more that whenever we are considering any solutions, do you think what we also need to stress is that we need to reduce consumption? We need to change our thinking from a development, infrastructure, progress model to something which, to a complete different change in thinking in terms of ecosystems, because everything that we are doing are just sort of not doing enough. I see in one of the areas that I'm working in, which is water, where I'm talking to a lot of scientists on this. So I notice, unless we reduce our consumption for everything, we're not going to be able to achieve very much. So while it's wonderful to move towards clean energy, but unless we reduce the number of cars, unless we, use more public transport, walk more, literally go back, we can't think in terms of today and the problems that we have because they're part of this model. We have to go back to a model that was working and then think from there, I think. I'm asking for systemic change.
Yeah, that's a process. Yes.
That's in fact, I will just highlight also, not fully agree what you have said, ma'am. And in fact, we are using also technology to enable that. Today, for example, if you look at for 100 household, we have only put 40 kilowatt. And the reason being is, here we are ensuring through the technology that whatever each unit which is generated, it is fully utilized, so that we don't put more capacity, correct? Okay. So that, and that is all through the technology. So that's what we're trying to do also.
Okay.
Of course, it is a combination of the technology and human behaviors, correct? Okay. For example, in all those, I explained that, during my presentation, that we have done 1,000, not a single water pump we are using groundwater. It is all river water, or you do water conservation, check
rainwater harvesting.
Use that, use that. not to extract the water. Okay, and the moment you are using water, measure also the water, then you know that how much water is used for each crop. Then how can you optimize?
Correct.
Because until unless we measure, we don't optimize also. Correct. Okay. So
Yeah,
that's
I was just suggesting that all of us who are working in this sector have to be constantly aware of the need to reduce and keep promoting that as the model that we want to move towards, while working on things which will help people to continue to do what they're doing.
Absolutely. Anjuji, are they? You can take questions now.
Just to add on, Deepak sir, Anjuji, as Romola ma'am, because we are closely linked, and Romola ma'am also visited us. Hello, Romola ma'am. So the point suggested by ma'am is that is very much because we need a behavioral change also.
Yes.
This is one of the biggest problem.
Yes.
Because when we talk about the water, we are working a lot on it, and during the summers we are facing that problem. It is bit another agenda, but water is key source. So how we can basically bring this change among the people? So like we are attempting for the rainwater harvesting everywhere in our organization. Already we have put around 2 lakh liter capacity tank in places. So at least we are having all these facilities with us. But how we could reduce the use of water, that is one of the biggest challenge. And again, behavioral change is required. So therein, I think ROE will be very happy to contribute, and to whatever has been basically research and extra research has been done by you, that we can implement in the field and ask people. And that the battery question is always there whenever, because maybe after 10 years, we are having to dispose of what we have to do. So we will be very happy, sir, to contribute and to basically bring the change among the community through our field-based team, and to bring the change and the positive lives. And already the biodiversity and the ecosystem services are hampering badly in the mountains. So there we have to work. And one more thing, sir, although it's not the part of his, again, with Deepak sir or Anju ji hai to share. One is that this प्लास्टिक वेस्ट वाला है, ये एक बहुत बड़ा इशू आ रहा है जिसको हम अभी भी नहीं कर पा रहे, लेकिन छोटे लेवल पे. Thank you, sir.
We'll take this up. In fact, just a leaf from both the discussions, we do surveys, Abhimanyu ji, and we say what are the assets. I mean, we'll not take this discussion further because there are a lot of questions, but just to close this, we do surveys and we ask what are the assets, and they say car, they say house, they say refrigerator. No one says river is an asset. No one says forest is an asset. So that mindset change is what we are talking about. Anjuji, we will take, over to you for questions, please.
Thank you very much, Deepak ji. Some of them have been briefly answered by Abhimanyu ji. However, the participants have asked the question, so I am bringing them again. Sanjay Kumar Bhardwaj ji wants to know, what are the contributions of clean energy in agriculture sector?
Okay. Of course, as I already mentioned, for agriculture, if you look at now for agriculture, what is required? The first is, let's say, irrigation you require, then harvesting, agro processing. Correct. Okay. I think these are the basic, when you think about agriculture. Correct. Okay. Now you can use clean energy in all this, let's say, the value chain across the agriculture, starting from irrigation, using solar irrigation pump. Now, even for harvesting, you can use solar powered machines, for example, for harvesting, right now, if you look at in India, particularly, let's say, and give a simple example, let's say paddy. Now, paddy threshers, most of the, it is all tractors are used. And for every acre, I'll give you because I'm also a farmer. Okay, so I understand this. Okay, for every acre, the farmers spend almost 1,500 rupees, for the threshing. Like smallholder farmers, the big farmers use harvesters, but most in India, almost let's say 80% of the smallholder farmers. Okay, and for this purpose, they use tractors, correct? And a lot of diesel is used. Okay, but this could be easily done by solar powered thresher. Okay. Similarly, now when it comes to the agro processing, starting from a rice mill to any kind of agro processing, basically you require a motor, correct? Okay. and that could be easily powered by solar. So I can see, really, clean energy can completely transform the agriculture, or in fact can help to decarbonize agriculture, and that will also improve, let's say, the income of the farmer, because if you reduce the diesel consumption and use, let's say, solar, definitely it is directly improving, the income of the farmers.
Ji.
I
Thank you
hope
so
I
much. Yes, of course. And Poonam Chauhan ji is here, and she wants to know how can one can implement clean energy, as it costs too much for people in remote areas and to other people also in the society.
Yeah, it's a good question. But in fact, today, when I look at, the main challenge of clean energy is actually, of course, initially it was really expensive. Okay. But today, the cost of the solar panel, when we started, let's say, I started working in access to, let's say, renewable energy way back in 2008. That point of time, the solar panel price per watt peak was almost 150 plus. Today, it is less than 15 rupees. Okay, you can imagine it has reduced. So the price has come down, and in fact, today, for example, the government, the present government has a beautiful scheme called PM Surya Ghar scheme. But one of the, the major challenges is not about, actually there are a lot of schemes, but why people are not taking benefit of these schemes? Because the major challenge, the first is people are not aware. Awareness is one of the biggest challenge about adoption of solar. Then the second one is availability, of the products, installation services, after sale services, correct? Okay. And also the affordability, but I think affordability questions today, for example, most of the loans, like, the financing company, they give, loans to the solar, even at a household level also, which was not there earlier, correct? Okay. So that goes, but the biggest challenge, what I see is the awareness of the people about, the technology, the how can they avail even the various schemes which is by the government. For example, today the government is giving a huge subsidy per kilowatt, just like, 15,000, 20,000, you can put, and by using the government subsidies, government schemes, and it is very simple, but people are not aware. So to solve this challenge, in fact, we have launched, a program called Clean Energy Micro Entrepreneur Program in partnership, again, with SSRDP, where we're trying to create a network of clean energy micro entrepreneurs. In fact, it will promote clean energy, but what is really going to help is all this, these are the entrepreneurs who are basically unemployed youth, who are school and college dropouts also. Okay. We help them, we train them, and then they undergo also a technical, like, a technical as well as, like, entrepreneur training, and they go back to their villages and establish their business, and we help them to establish, like, support them also. And these are the people in the remote area, they are promoting, the, educating the, let's say, communities, the households, like, about the solutions, the different schemes, and they are also providing, installation and after sale service, which is very, very important. So my request, all the participants, who are attending, if we will be, more than happy to train, as many youths as possible. So if you know some youths, please, like, refer us, and we can train them. And this is a completely free training, in Bangalore. They can come, like, 21 days, attend this training program, and after that they can go back, okay, and start their own business. Okay. And some of our, like, entrepreneurs, last year they have reached almost, like, just within 4 or 5 years, they've reached turnover of more than 4 crores.
Yeah.
In fact,
That's great.
Abhimanyu ji has given the call for action. He has, all of the people who have been saying that we want to do it in our village, we want to do it. This, that's what Hum is all about. When we started Hum, we said we will not just do policy advocacy and conferences. We believe in action on the ground. And for the first 3 years, we only acted on the ground. So here, when we get out of this place, if any one of you are interested in doing something for your place, then you can send 1 or 2 people, because it's only the entrepreneurship which will sustain things over there. Once a person earns something from it, then he sustains that initiative. So entrepreneurship development creates an ecosystem, and we will be very happy to get your people. I think only coming and going expense will have to be taken care by you all. I think Abhimanyu ji, yeah, that's the thing. But the rest, like it said that for this platform, we would like to start this initiative, and if some of you are interested, probably from Hum Partners, 15-20 people, we can create a special bash for entrepreneurship.
That's wonderful to know. And so this call is going out to all of the Hum partners also here. So if they wish to send in a batch or a few people from their side, they're most welcome to join our projects here in the Bangalore Ashram, the training sessions. There is another question that I would like to put forth to Abhimanyu ji. We've talked about the behavioral interventions. We've talked about behavioral, the patterns that people follow. I want to know what advice or would you give to one?
Anjuji, I think you are not.
You are not able to hear. I think you are on mute.
You are on mute, Anjuji.
I think my dog is speaking louder than me, which is why I muted myself. So just give me a minute. Yeah. So my question is that what advice would you give to the industries and businesses that are just beginning their clean energy transitions? And also, what is the role of the corporate sustainability commitments like net zero pledges? What role do they play in accelerating clean energy adoptions?
Deepak ji, you will take or you want me to take it?
No, Abhimanyu ji, you are the authority on this. We are just volunteers, followers.
No. I think, when we think about clean energy transition, for overall, let's say, the society, I can say, I think everybody has a role to play. It's not only the industry or it is not only the government, I think, everybody has to work together, then only I think we can go towards a completely, let's say, from a fossil fuel driven society to a clean energy powered society, correct? Okay. So definitely the government role is to come up with, let's say, policies, as well as some of them policy changes, as well as create a climate. So for example, today I think in the Indian government is really doing a great job. For example, the PM Surya Ghar schemes. Now even if you look at in last 10 years, the solar panel installed capacity, all the new, let's say, installed capacity, whatever is happening, I think it is not due to the solar thermal plant. No more thermal power plant. The maximum is coming in the additional capacity is actually through solar power. So and now government has really very good schemes, to set up even the semiconductor manufacturing facility to because till today I think most of our solar panels are coming from outside. The cells, of course, we are doing assembling, but the cells are coming from outside. Now the government is really providing a lot of incentive for the industry to manufacture the cells also, correct? And there are some mega plants which are being set up in, let's say, by end of this year, those plants will be also producing the cells in India. So government is doing, and of course I think the corporate now, most of this, many corporates as a part of their net zero emission, they place to and use more solar energy in their or clean energy in their complete value chain. I think that's important also. And so when I look at, I think, because there are many, let's say, foundations which are there, okay, but the corporates also, many times they require the supports of the foundation, to implement their projects. See, for example, let's look at some of the corporates, let's say, who are in the FMCG, they wanted to reduce the net zero in their complete value chain. So if, let's say, a company which is in let's say in food and beverage, they are sourcing, the agriculture, agri inputs from the farmers, and even there also they want to reduce the their carbon footprint. Okay, so and that's where even the NGOs can play really a very good role, uh, working closely in the industry to achieve this overall net zero, target. And as again in an individual, I think we need to really look at, we need to think before changing now. I will say a new clothes, we need to think whatever even its carbon footprint. And for example, I have done once this exercise. There was a few questionnaires, and I answered those things, because it was basically a questionnaire about the lifestyle, and then it gives you, okay, what is your carbon footprint, and if everybody have the same lifestyle, how many planets like Earth we require. And that was really an eye-opening things for me. So each of also us also has to be conscious. So it's the government, it is the organization, as well as individual. I think we need to really think about it.
Yes, and the way we say is that knowledge, policy, and people's movement. If knowledge doesn't translate into effective policies, knowledge is very individual or zone centric, and if policies don't reach people, policies have no value. So what we believe in is the people's movement, and that's where good knowledgeable people like Abhimanyu ji and a lot of people here come. And when all the partners come together, then we can create effective, we can we can guide effective policy changes. So one question which I found very interesting, Abhimanyu ji, here was that is very, very, very relevant, and your inputs will be very important on this, is that in Himalayas, maximum farm land holding is very small.
Yeah.
Very small, 1 acre, 1.5 acre, 2 acres, like that. It is not like 100 acres, 150 acres in Jharkhand and others. So how do we get renewable energy, interventions in agri sector, keeping this in mind?
No, in fact, I can say that, of course, this, let's say, small land holding, it's not only a problem of, let's say, Himalayan areas. In fact, most of, almost 80% of the farmers in India are small hold farmers, correct? Okay. And I believe that, in fact, the solar panel can play a major role, okay, even at the smallhold farmers. In fact, I can give you a perfect example. See, if you have, let's say, today, if you look Punjab and Haryana, they are able to use this big harvesters, because the land size is quite big. But when I go to Orissa, in Jharkhand, where the land sizes are very small, they are not able to use the big harvesters, because to use a big harvester, you require a quite big land. Okay, so when you have a small land, in fact, the small machines which could be easily powered by solar, because a big harvester, which, let's say, probably a 50 HP, it is very, very, it is very difficult to power by solar. But if it is, let's say, a 5 HP, 7 HP, kind of machine, it could be easily powered by solar.
Also, the fact that a lot of Himalayan areas like Arunachal, they have a lot of cloudy days, and they have, unlike Ladakh, which is a cold desert, there are some issues with the sun power also. So, yeah. Any comments on that?
I think, see, today what has I can say that in fact, if you would have asked me this question, let's say 10 years before, my answer would, it would have been really, because now, thanks to the technology, the solar panel price has gone down. Correct? Okay. Now, what we have to do is, you can increase the solar panel capacities, and of course, now there are, let's say, there will be certain, some may say, okay, you require a lot of land. Correct? Okay. But today, there are technologies like, in fact, you can do particularly lot of even agriculture. Recently, we are just doing 3 projects, with one of our partner, okay, where how can we grow some good crops inside, below the solar panels, and which is really high value, crops, okay. We are just doing one project where, we'll be putting like, a climate control, like, mushroom farming, which is really quite expensive, okay. Like, those mushrooms, okay, and that will be inside a like a container, okay. So you can put, let's say, the solar panel on that, and so that you are not wasting any land, correct, okay. So we are just experimenting, like, some of these projects, in fact 3 projects, or what we are saying, like, how, solar panels, wherever it is installed, that land also could be used for some like agriculture.
Yeah. Like what Elon Musk said once, that sun is a huge potato. And everyone has, it has unlimited potential to feed everyone. So, anyone wants to share their views? There are some important things. Anjuji, would you like to take it further?
Yes, LCV's NGO has been really listening to whatever you are saying, Abhimanyu and Deepak very intently, and they have been posting some remarks over here, and I would like to read out the questions. And in Himalayan region, especially in Uttarakhand, Himalayan region, marginal farmers are there, and we would have to adopt something different, some other means. They mean some different means over there. Do you have a comment on that, sir?
I didn't, in fact, like, to be honest, I am not able to exactly. So this question, is it with regard to, like, we have to adapt something other?
I think that question, Anjuji,
margining already discussed, right?
Yeah, I asked this, small land holding means marginal farmers.
Yeah.
No, but in fact, if it is small holders, I think the only, because we have also done many projects, for example, where the farmers are really very small, holder farmers, where they, let's say, land holding probably 1.5 acre, max 2 acres, okay. I think the solution there is basically to group them, they can create, user groups, like, let's say 10, 15 farmers can come together. And then, because each individual farmer cannot put a processing unit, if they come together, like, then it could be, that is the right solution, I will say.
Yeah. Mahimaji wants to know, what is the scope of windmills in India?
Okay, so wind technology, although I am, to be honest, I am not an expert in the wind, but I have whatever my limited knowledge, like, see the wind today, if you look at, like, all the windmills, like, earlier it was small, but today the windmills are becoming bigger and bigger. You will not find small windmills. Okay. So because they are not commercially viable, so if you, that's the reason, if you look at few years before, you had even, like, small kilowatt, but today when you look at a windmill, it is always megawatt only, even a one windmill. Okay. So I don't see today, like, because when we talk about wind, it is all going, like, the higher capacity, because the commercial viability is a challenge. So when you think about putting small windmills, let's say techno-commercial viability is a challenge.
Also, we did a pilot on windmills in Arunachal in 2015. That was, obviously, the technology must have changed, but it needs a very steady source of steady wind flow. It cannot be high, low, I mean, in mountains, that's very much. Very high winds, very low winds. But in coastal areas and other areas, it's a steady wind flow. So that.
But even that, so today, if you look at, like, all you don't find even a good manufacturer, like, who are manufacturing now small windmills, because this technology is, like, there is a minimum size, like, even now the megawatt, like, the one earlier that windmills were coming, like, let's say few hundred kilowatt, but even now all the windmills are, like, 1.5 megawatt and above one windmills, because the commercial viability.
Mahima ji, are you, I mean, I think you are traveling right now, right?
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
Okay.
Abhimanyu, we've talked about several solutions here that you have given. So, what I'm intrigued about is what are the biggest challenges that the industries are facing in adopting clean energy solutions? What can we do to bring them forward, and how can these companies they overcome these challenges?
I think I have already mentioned, so today the challenge is basically it is not about the availability of the technology. Technology is quite matured enough right now. It is really quite mature technologies. Okay, so the I will say so the major challenges for adoption or even the sustainability, of this technology when it comes to the rural areas. Okay, is basically as I mentioned, the awareness, availability of the local installation or quality manpower who can install and provide after sale services in the rural areas, correct? Even in the city also. For example, in Bangalore today, if I want to put I don't know who is I can call an electrician, but most of the electricians are not competent to do a solar installation. Okay, so awareness about and the customers are not aware, or even okay. So these are the really, I will say, two challenges, and that's where what I'm saying is we need to really create a lot of entrepreneurs, or we need to create a lot of skill so that every electrician can really become fix this, let's say, solar systems. Okay, until that happens, it's very difficult. So for any technology, for example, to really reach to the, for example, the best example I can give you is mobile. See why mobile has now reached to each and every person in the planet, because the mobiles, even in the remotest part of India or any part of the world, you can buy. Nobody now need to even go to a city even to buy a mobile, because even in the village shops mobiles are available. You can buy the recharge your mobile in your doorstep itself, don't need to going. So that is how so the complete the product has to be available, then the after sale service has to be available, then only it will I will say it will spread, and then it otherwise it will be very, very difficult. And one of the biggest challenge, in fact, we say, for example, Africa is the graveyard of solar. The reason is, see, many development have organization has spent billions of dollars by installing the solution. Even I have seen, even in India also, you go to many of the remote places, you may find, and particularly I'm talking about Himalayan range. Okay, those areas, you'll see many solar system probably would have been installed by NGOs or by some government, and many of them are not working. Why? What is the reason? The reason is there is no local skilled manpower who can provide that after sale service, and this is really very, very critical in today. And government has the PM Surya Ghar scheme. Government has a big ambition to provide 1 crore homes with solar solution. And when you look at the progress, it is not much, because people are not aware.
Right. So, sir, can you tell me about the some of the digital solutions for energy management? Is Schneider Electric also engaged in that? How do AI and IoT and other automation accelerate the transition of clean energy?
Yeah, and it's a very good question, because again, I think today the AI or the digital technologies will play an important role, because I think what is really important. So let's say I'm just giving example. We have, Deepak ji was saying was giving some examples where there are many schools we have equipped solar powered system. Now, until and unless we remotely monitor, we don't know whether it is working, and this could be easily done through the digital technologies today. So there is no need of even sending somebody to know whether it is working or not. We will have thanks to this digital technology as well as AI, we have the real-time data on a real time, whether how much power it is generating, how much power is consumed, all these things is possible today. And that will ensure, and it can also, for example, if there is some like a fault, which is, it can give also certain signal thanks to the AIs, okay? It will also, let's say, give some signal if there is some, let's say, fault which is going to happen also. So we must use these things, technologies, which will ensure again, the sustainability of the solutions. Otherwise, you put a system, let's say in Leh Ladakh, and nobody is there to see it. But if let's say sitting in Bangalore, we are able to remotely monitor its performance, I'm sure it will be, it will perform, it will sustain.
On this note, I would like to, share a very important project which we are doing, and I would like Chaitra to come in and share her experience on the importance. We've been talking about renewable energy in the agriculture sector for economic development. Little note on the education, how important it is for education. And before that, before Chaitra speaks, I would like to share one of my experience, and Chinmayji is also here, I think. In one of the villages in Arunachal Pradesh, how important electricity is for just connecting different people. In one of the villages, in one of the community centers, we set up renewable energy, and we set up a small TV. And this was Karadadi, or some rural area of Arunachal Pradesh, border area. And the next time when our team went there, they asked that, what is the experience? How do you feel? What is, they went for some maintenance program and all. And the person said, one of the local people said that we never felt so connected to India. I mean, they were watching Gujarati serials, they were watching movies, and just watching serials, movies, and some dance, some dresses, they felt connected to India. So I think the importance of energy cannot be shared in words. When we see the brightness and when we see the effect, the impact, it cannot be shared in words. So on that note, Chaitra, would you like to share about your experience on, and Chinmayji also, because Chinmayji has been doing some wonderful work in Arunachal, mainly Chaitra, on your experience on renewable energy with education. Yes, Chaitra.
Yeah, thank you so much, Deepakji. It was a really wonderful, wonderful session. Always nice to listen to Abhimanyuji. I've made notes. Thanks for sharing so much of wisdom. Regarding schools, yes, smart class. I think Abhimanyuji already touched upon it. I'll just share a couple of my personal experiences. It's a reality that there is a lot of shortage of teachers, and it's not about if you go to any schools. I mean, I've visited some of the schools, even for 10th, 11th, 12th, there is no science teachers, or there is a lack of teachers, and because there are multiple reasons for it. One main reason is in the kind of difficult situations, that whether it's a terrain or weather. So there is a lack of quality teachers. So the best possible next solution is setting up these smart classes, and where we all know energy plays a very important role to that. And just to give an example, how a very, very simple solution of putting a smart class, it changes, it makes a big impact, is, we recently had sessions where people joined from US, from Ireland, from Mumbai, Delhi, experts talking about, in AI. We had experts talking about, from KPMG, talking about financial planning. We have been having sessions on army, what all to be done, to be part of the, to join defense, and number of career options. And also we are planning sessions on environment awareness. All of this is possible, and in one shot, right? In the sense, hundreds of students and teachers can join in a session, have the kind of discussions that we are currently having. Students are able to get that thanks to smart classes, which are powered by solar. And I think a number of use cases I can speak about. Very simple solution, possible, through simple setups. So yeah.
Chinmayji, would you like to share your experience on Arunachal Pradesh with renewable energy?
Yeah, thanks,
Just a
Deepak ji.
few words, yes.
Thank you so much for the time. I think Abhimanyu ji did a good job of talking about the renewable energy. It's excellent. I must say, I really appreciate his views and yeah. Also, in fact, hello.
Yes, Chinmayji, you are audible.
We can hear you.
We also
you are on mute. Chinmay sir, you are on mute.
We also had Naveen
Sorry,
Verma.
there is a power failure. Okay.
Yes.
You inviting somebody to speak?
Maybe I just want to add one thing. Once Chinmayji joins, I was just talking to also some of the students in Uttarakhand, Arunachal, those areas, 12th grade students. I was asking them what are your dreams? What do you want to do after this? They had absolutely no idea what to do. I mean, they have not even heard of IITs, IIMs. Forget about even aspiring for it, right? The awareness is simply not there. I'm not saying that everybody have to migrate, but at least let them make a knowledgeable decision for their own life. So that is where the smart classes also makes a big difference. Chinmayji, you are back.
Naveen ji had joined, but he left, and he is the joint secretary of, retired as secretary donor. And he has put in a personal, message stating that the importance of renewable energy to secure our borders is unfathomable. And that's what he wanted to share, that I hope we do a lot of good work on that. Any final comments from anyone on this audience would like to share something? Naveen Dhingra ji, he's one of our consultants with the SSRDP Trust and just retired as the zonal head for NABARD. Naveen ji, would you like to share the importance of renewable energy with farmers? You have worked with farmers throughout your life in NABARD. So any thoughts on that? Your final.
Hello.
Yeah.
Am I audible?
Yes, Naveen ji.
Yeah, Jai Gurudev to everybody. And first and foremost, let me congratulate the SSRDP Trust, Deepak ji, Anju ji, Abhimanyu ji, and all the distinguished people for doing a wonderful job. And I think Abhimanyu ji has rightly pointed out right in the beginning that without the energy source, nothing can move, whether it is education, livelihood, agriculture-related activities. So energy is the most important input which can be provided to the vulnerable groups. And vulnerable groups, we know India, basically when we talk about India, we talk about agriculture, we talk about rural development, we talk about rural interventions. So keeping that in mind, I feel that support through the CSR foundations and support through various organizations for the renewable energy interventions is very, very essential, and it should further lead and should further get strengthened. And plus, we also need to establish a very elaborate ecosystem which comprises of trained, skilled manpower, to manage these resources effectively and try to bring out the benefits in a very, very optimum level. So keeping that in front, and I could remember that in NABARD, we have been supporting renewable energy resources like solarization in our interventions, like tribal development projects, which we have undertaken in some of the tribal areas. The irrigation facilities through solarized pump sets were provided by many of the CSR foundations and even supported by NABARD. So those are activities which can really help the agriculture and the rural people in doing their work very effectively. And as was indicated earlier in the deliberations, that we having a predominantly small farmer and marginal farmers ecosystem in agriculture, definitely many things can be done through this support through renewable energy for this segment, whether it is in their agriculture side or it is in their household activity support system, or trying to create in some livelihood options for them, which can be supported through the renewable energy sources. So definitely a lot of work has been done. More need to be done. We need to create some more projects for specific landscape areas so that the challenges can be addressed immediately and to be effectively supported by a well-qualified and a professional skilled manpower. Thank you, Deepakji.
Thank you, Naveen-ji. We are so much on time. There are 2 more minutes. And in these 2 minutes, I would just like to summarize that renewable energy is the future. Yes, because that is where that is what sustainability will ask for when we look forward. But renewable energy initiatives should be sustainable. Renewable energy is sustainable, but renewable energy initiatives need to be sustainable. And for that, an ecosystem needs to be created. For an ecosystem to be created, we need stakeholders. Stakeholders in terms of the policymakers, yes, they have woken up. Stakeholders in terms of entrepreneurs, we need to create many entrepreneurs, grassroots entrepreneurs, not billion-dollar companies entrepreneurs, but grassroots entrepreneurs with modest turnovers of 50 lakhs, 60 lakhs, 1 CR, doing work in, I feel if we can have 1 entrepreneur per district through this initiative, then that will be a very commendable achievement. And also to create skilled manpower under entrepreneurs. So to do skilling for youth in the space of renewable energy, to create entrepreneurship in the space of renewable energy, and to make people aware on the importance of renewable energy. I'm sure when entrepreneurship is created, then he wants to make money. That's what we have seen. People create their awareness, that's what they call marketing. And in some way, the awareness is created. So that creating that already, a robust ecosystem which needs to be. And, yesterday I was, courtesy Ramolaji, I was introduced to a very amazing gentleman who is doing some great work in the tourism sector. I would not like to name it because some projects and proposals are in process, and once that happens, then the HUM team will come to know about it. But he said that 80% of the hoteliers in Himalayas want to use renewable energy, but they don't want the headache of it. They don't want the headache of it. What do they mean by headache? I mean, who's going to maintain it? Who's going to manage it? Who's going to install it? You take here 7, 8, 10 lakhs, you do it, and I'm going to give you an AMC. So he said 80% of the hoteliers want to do that. So much of carbon footprint can be saved. 80% of the hotel industry using renewable energy only in Himalayas. So that's the scope and that's the threat. He said, we don't want the headache of it. So, I mean, that's what our role as, enablers need to be to create that ecosystem. And we have partners like Schneider Foundation. There are many more, but I find this as one of the best. I mean, I might have my personal, because we've been working for the last 14 years. And Schneider Foundation has the best heart and the best will and the best technology. It's one of the biggest engineering companies of the world now. So with that note, Abhimanyu-ji, any final words? Yes, one word of Abhimanyu-ji has already been that we need entrepreneurs. So if you all in your area, in your capacity, Anju-ji, can you put down the number of Tapasya-ji on this board? And I will only, she is our director for skill development programs, and she also heads our entrepreneurship development program because it was so important. That's why we made the director lead it herself. So I will not, I'll request not to have cold calls. I'll not request anyone on this platform to pass on number to anyone. But all of these here are NGOs, representatives, and social workers. In your capacity, identify one or two people who want to become entrepreneurs. There is a criteria to it. There is an interview also to it. So identify 2-3 people and we will engage them. We will make them entrepreneurs. That probably will be the first step to create an ecosystem for renewable energy in your community. When that happens, then automatically many projects will follow. Yes, Abhimanyu-ji? I mean, any final words from your side?
No, Deepak, you have already well said. Because just from, let's say, the experience what I have, what I can say is, I think here there are many, I think, NGOs or even the other development organizations who are coming, from the Himalayan, working. Okay, if you want to really, work on a clean energy, initiative, correct? Okay. In fact, it is very important for you to create that ecosystem to manage it. And this is possible only through a local skilled entrepreneurs. It is not, possible by, the NGOs, correct? Okay. So my request again to all of you will be, you please, if you want to work on the clean energy space, correct? Okay. And leverage clean energy for socio-economic development of the area where you are working, you must think about, having a local entrepreneur who can provide all these services to you and the communities. I think that's really important, and that's the message we wanted to give. Because without, see, for example, imagine, if we wanted to go 100 kilometers to repair our bike, is it possible? It's not possible, correct? If again imagine, the mobile, if you have to go to the nearest city to recharge your mobile, that mobile would have never spread, correct? So if you wanted to promote socio-economic development through the clean energy, we need to create this ecosystem, which will be able to maintain these solutions. I think that's really key. That's the message. And this is one of the biggest challenges. We need to work together to solve it.
Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you so much, Abhimanyu-ji, Anju-ji, and everyone on this platform.
Thank you, Deepak-ji. Thank you, Anju-ji.
Thank you. As we come to the wrap of this insightful discussion on clean energy, I want to extend my heartfelt gratitude to our esteemed speaker, Mr. Abhimanyu Sahu, CEO of Schneider Electric Foundation in India, for sharing his valuable insights, and all other esteemed speakers, Deepak-ji, for engaging all of us in this lovely conversation on clean energy. Now, today's conversation has really reinforced the urgency of transitioning from clean energy to practical solutions that can drive the change. From technology-driven innovations to policy frameworks and community-led initiatives, we have explored actionable steps towards sustainable, energy secure future. Special thanks to Schneider Electric Foundation and SSRDP for their commitment to sustainability, and all our attendees for their engagement and thought-provoking questions. Let's continue working together to create real impact on clean energy space. Thank you once again. We look forward to staying connected on this journey, and stay tuned for more webinars from Himalaya Chintan series. Thank you very much, everybody, for attending today.
Thank you.
Thank you.